people in red, aren't they? I waited at supper.
This
I-
meeting, yes.
I
Everyone, it is 6:30 p.m. August 5th, 2026. This is Chair Pro Tempore David Nagaji calling the meeting to order. Ensign, please do a roll call.
When I call your name, please respond. Kamemoto? Okay, he's here. Watson?
Here.
Okay. Bozo? Okay. Nagaji? Okay. Fukumoto? He's here. Okay. Fields?
Ascending to the vacancy.
So nobody's ever.
The bizarre spectacle
Oh,
gripped
okay, I see you.
crowds gathering
Okay.
to the dead post.
Lee?
Here.
Okay. Koff? Okay, not here. Okay, Chong?
Here.
Okay. Moylan?
Here.
Okay, Sophia? Okay, Kwano? Okay, not here. Okay. Fox? Okay. Mashtraki? He's not here. Lisa Carter? Okay. Freiberg is not here also. Armstrong?
Present.
Okay, that's 12.
12, we have quorum. All right, great. Going to first responder monthly reports. Calling first Honolulu Fire Department.
I'm Jacob Nakajima from the Mānoa Fire Station. I'll just go over the incident statistics. We had 1 cooking fire, 11 activated alarms with no fires. Responded to 43 medical incidents and 2 motor vehicle crash collisions. And our fire safety tip is emergency notifications and resources. Understanding how you'll be alerted during urgent emergencies and knowing where to find accurate official information is a key part of being prepared. Learn more at honolulu.gov/dem/stay-informed. The alert methods are, you got the opt-in alerts. These notify individuals who have signed up to receive alerts by text, emails, or app push notification based on their preferences. They are not sent based on location. Systems include Honolulu Alert and official government social media. And you can sign up for these at hnlalert.gov to receive notifications. And alerts may be shared by official city, state, and trusted partner accounts. Then we have public alert and warning systems. These systems deliver urgent, life-saving information during immediate threats to public safety. In Hawaii, this includes the emergency alert system, the wireless emergency alerts, and the outdoor warning sirens, depending on the emergency. And one or more of these systems may be activated. Any questions?
All right, any questions or comments for the fire department? Anyone in person? Anyone online? All right, you're gonna see none. Thanks for coming in. We'll see you again next month.
Have a nice day.
I'm going now to a Honolulu Police Department with Lieutenant who is online.
Hi, aloha, Lieutenant Nakamura with the Police Department. These are stats for July as compared to the previous month. Okay, let's see. Motor vehicle thefts were 6 as compared to 7. Burglaries were 4 as compared to 1. Thefts in general were 7 as compared to 12. And UEMVs, which is theft from autos, was 0 as compared to 3. This is out of a total calls for service of 5,475 for the district. Further statistical information can be found at honolulupd.org. And our safety tip for the month is a reminder now that school is starting to come back into session. These are just little tips, suggestions. If, God forbid, in the event that you there's an active shooter situation at any kind of school, or it can be anywhere actually. But the adage is add avoid, deny, defend. You know, what you do really matters. Once the police are called, it takes about an average of 3 minutes for us to respond. It's usually a little bit faster in Hawaii. But what you do in the meantime is extremely important. And then this first one, I can't overstate it enough. It all starts with your state of mind. You're relaxed but calm. You know, you pay attention to your surroundings. You know, before anything happens, always know where you're at and have an exit plan just in case. If something happens, move away from the source of the threat as quickly as possible. And the more distance and barriers between you and the threat, the better, right? If you cannot get away, if you cannot run, running is just run. And no, if you cannot run, then deny. The other way of saying it is shelter in place, but don't be passive about it. You know, try to figure out where the action is happening, and then get distance between you and that source. If you can create barriers, the better. Turn off lights, you know, especially turn off things that make noise. And everybody has them. Our cell phones is the number one thing. You know, put it on to vibrate. And then if the last ditch thing is, if you cannot avoid or if you cannot deny, you have a right to protect yourself. People sometimes in this day and age, they forget you have a right to protect yourself. You know, be prepared to defend yourself, be aggressive and committed to your actions. And it says right here, do not fight fairly, because this is about survival. This is about your life or the lives of your charges, the people under you. Yeah. So it's just trying to boil down the most important things to happen in those critical first few minutes. So it's just just suggestions from the alert program, which we follow. Yeah. And that's our safety tip for the month.
All right, thank you, Lieutenant. Do we have any questions or comments for HPD? I'll go to Member Armstrong, then Member Sofio.
Mahalo, Chair Nagaji, and thank you, Lieutenant Nakamura. My name's Dylan Armstrong, Mānoa Neighborhood Board, Subdistrict 4, which is the lower part of the district. I have a question, or rather a concern raised by residents in the vicinity of 2119 Chamberlain Street. And there are concerns about a chop shop and unsafe behaviors, which are also inconsistent with the residential nature of the property and the properties adjoining. Is there anything HPD can do to address this on behalf of the residents? Mahalo.
Yeah, there's two ways of doing it. The easiest way would be to have that person call 911 and we would meet with them, get the information, and we can forward it onto our plainclothes units and also the criminal investigation division. That would be the easiest way. So just have them call 911 and we can generate a report and pass it on to the investigative units.
All right, thank you. I'll go on to Member Sofio and then go to Robert Fox.
Yeah, so thank you for that summary, Officer Nakamura. I don't know if this has come up in maybe the Mo'ili board before, but I walked around the perimeter of Lunalilo Elementary maybe a year ago, and it had a high fence around, you know, like 95% of the property. And a woman that was, you know, leaving after dropping off her child said that it was because of some crime that happened in another part of the island, and that they wanted to keep the criminals off the campus. But it occurred to me that, you know, if you're a child or a teacher and you're trying to run and you only have, you know, like a very narrow place of egress, that's not a good situation unless you're a really fast fence climber. And it's a really tall fence. It makes you feel like the school is a prison. So I just wondered why, if they had considered the opposite, the flip side of things.
Well, that's a difficult question for me to answer. I'm with the police department. I'm not with the Board of Education, so I'm sure they had, well, Luna Lila Elementary School, I don't think is in District 7, so I don't know if I should answer, but yeah, I guess it's all about checks and balances, yeah. I'm sure they had very valid reasons to put up fences around the schools. You'll see them in almost every school, but it's not really. Yeah, yeah. I don't think I'm in a position to be able to answer that question. I'm sorry. Might be better. I mean, it's a great question. Definitely. You can ask it to the school, and then they might respond, well, we did this because we had this, and this reason. So, yeah, I think it's a great question, but
Thank
not
you.
for me to answer, I think.
Thanks, Lieutenant. One quick second before we go to Member Fox. Lieutenant, sorry, I got a text from a community member. It was with the same issue that Member Armstrong raised. There's a community member who wanted to clarify. There's also problems with abandoned vehicles, possibly at the same property. So could you also look into possible abandoned vehicles at the same property that Member Armstrong brought up?
Okay, yeah, same answer, definitely.
Okay,
We'll
thanks.
look
And
into it.
Member Fox, go ahead.
Hi there. Since you're here, I hope you'll listen to us. I know the property that we're talking about here, and I think what this board is asking you is, rather than having to ask or call 5 different people to get some response, my suggestion is a polite idea. I lived in Long Beach for a long time in California, and what we did was we actually targeted an area. So say, for instance, somebody said there's a chop shop at Joe Blow from Kokomo Street, right? We would put a parameter around that of 4 to 5 blocks. And amazingly enough, we found that all of the bicycle theft and most moped theft was right in that ring, because generally it's a homeless funding operation. And they don't have the ability to drive across the city, whatever. So it's quite, located in a circle. Right in the center of the circle is the chop shop. So I would request the police department to, instead of having us call various people to be redirected, could we make this a project and actually investigate right now what's going on, and have the police department actually put a circle around that area and start enforcing the theft which is happening. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Member Fox. I saw raised hand, and we'll do you as the last person for HB, and then we're going to move forward. But you can go ahead and.
Thank you, Chair. 2 questions for HPD. First one, okay, my name is Sharon Omizo. I live in the Woodlawn area. If a stray dog is in my neighborhood on the public road, who do I call? Humane Society or HPD? First question.
Yes, if they're loose, if they're aggressive, if they're attacking somebody, you can call us. One of the big problems is, I believe, it fluctuates by year, but the Humane Society's lost some funding. So in some years they have more funding, other years they have less funding. So it's a difficult situation, but if there's a loss, if the dog is aggressive, or even if the dog is loose, just call us and we'll try to deal with this with the situation. Sometimes they can come out, sometimes they cannot. It really depends. It's hard. But if it's a dangerous dog, definitely call us. That's a situation that needs to be taken care of.
Thank you, because I called 911 on Monday in regards to a stray dog in my neighborhood on the road, and the dispatch person who answered was proceeding to explain to me what role HPD has and what role Humane Society has, and it was very conflicting. So thank you for clarifying that for me. Second question is, if a neighbor is dumping yard waste or has their yard workers dump yard waste on private property, my understanding is I call HPD. This is problem we've had with Melly Melly Place since they do not have yard waste pickup. Melly Melly Place, they just dump it on private property, which is in the gully below, and that's part of the problem for the Mānoa stream. So do I call HPD if I see active dumping? They're going to come out and cite them or talk with them or something?
Green, we had this conversation a couple months ago, but green waste is it depends on who owns the property, and if it's owned by the city and county of Honolulu, that would be taken care of by the Department of Facility and Maintenance. If it's the property is in say in the back up the mountain or someplace like that where the property is being where the waste is being disposed of and it's green waste. Normally that's taken, if it's state land, it's taken care of by the state, yeah. So those are the two options.
This is private property owners who are dumping or having their yard workers dump on other private property. And part of the one private property is an out-of-state property owner who owns G1, I guess it is, preservation property, general preservation property, which is almost 1 acre. So that property is getting filled up quickly with all kinds of yard waste, old tires, etc.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
then if it's
just call
private
HPD.
property, yeah. If it's private property, then it would be responsibility of that the owner of the private property to call us and or take care of the waste, yeah.
So you folks will come out if we see active dumping happening?
If you call 911, we may come out, but we have to address each situation for itself, and I can't give you a blanket answer depending on each situation is different, so we'd have to assess the situation at the time, yeah.
Thank you.
All right, thanks. Thank you, Lieutenant. We'll see you again next month. So,
Okay.
Sorry, we got to move on for time. Just because I see a lot of people here. I think they're here for the flooding and the stream cleaning issue, but we have a few internal things we have to take care of first. Hopefully, we can get through this quickly. So first, I'm going to go to mandatory board business. So essentially, what happened was 4 current members of the board had 3 or more absences during the previous year. Because of that, the rules of the neighborhood board system require us to consider whether or not to remove them for their absences. So all 4 of them have indicated to me and or the NCO over email that they want to stay on the board. So we're going to go down the list for all 4 of them, alphabetical by last name. Each of the 4 board members will have the opportunity to say whatever they want to say in terms of making a statement. After they've said whatever they want to say, the other board members will have the opportunity to make a motion to remove them. If the motion is made to remove them, then we'll vote on the motion. If no motion is made, then they stay on the board. So going first to Member Bosel. Please go ahead.
I believe I already informed the chair most of the 2 out of the 3 occasions that I missed, but my father has advanced aggressive cancer. He was hospitalized 10, 11 times in the last year. It just was not the top priority. And so I apologize, but other things took precedence. He was highly immunocompromised, so did not come to the meetings. Sorry.
Thanks. And I'll just note, Member Bosel did give me timely notice that she was going to miss meetings for those reasons, but the neighborhood board system basically doesn't count excused absences. It counts in all the scenes. We have to go through this. So Member Bosel has given her explanation of why she was absent, and she's indicated she wants to stay on the board. Is there a motion to remove Member Bosel? If not, she'll stay on automatically. Anyone in person making a motion? Anyone online? Is anyone? All right, great. Member Bosel remains on the board. Doing the same thing now for Member Fields. We'll give you the opportunity to say whatever you want to say, then we'll ask if there's a motion to remove. So Member Fields, please proceed.
Hello, yeah, similar issue dealing with family health. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, yeah, just dealing with some family health issues. Thank you.
All right, is there a motion to remove Member Fields? Anyone in person? Anyone online? Seeing no raised hands, congratulations, Member Fields, you remain on the board. Going on to Member Fox, Art Fox, you can make a statement if you want.
I think I did inform the board chair that I was going to be gone for a while. I do own property in California, and I have to inspect that from time to time. And I'm relatively newlywed, so my husband and I went to visit friends in Palm Springs and Phoenix and Mexico. So we were gone for a 2-month period of time. And that's my explanation. Sorry.
Yep, and I'll just confirm for the record that Member Fox did give me advance notice that he would be off island, but again, we can't count those as excused. You have to go through the whole process for all absences. So is there a motion to remove Member Fox in person? Dylan, Member Armstrong?
No, I have a point of order. So if my read of section 2-14-103 D is correct, the board cannot take any item out of order until we've elected officers for the new officer's term. Unless I'm reading an outdated neighborhood plan. This is the 2019 update.
All right, I stand corrected on procedure by Member Armstrong. So, sorry, Member Fox, we'll come back to you in a minute, hopefully. Going out to election of officers. So this is Roman numeral 3, election of officers and confirmation of board details. So to serve from August 2026 to Wednesday, June 30th, 2027, chair, vice chair, secretary, and treasurer, and any other officers the board determines needs to conduct its business. So first one will be chair. Is there a nomination for chair? Member Fukumoto?
Grotesque event shocked all of
Yes,
Christmas.
I would like to nominate Dave Nagaji for chair of Manoa Neighborhood Board.
I will accept that nomination, and because I've accepted, I'm passing the gavel
I'll
to
second.
Vice Chair Moylan.
Okay. Are there any other nominations for chair?
Have you ever heard of a trial so outrageous?
Seeing none, then either we elect Dave or we have no chair. So is there any objection to electing Dave by acclamation?
Oh, we have to do like roll call vote.
Really, for an unopposed vote?
Yeah. I still have to do it for all the other boards.
I'm skeptical of this, but I didn't bring my Robert's rules with me. So please proceed with the roll call vote.
Okay, when I call your name, please say Nagaji Kamemoto. Okay, can you also use the mics just in case? Okay, Watson,
Nagaji.
Bozo,
Nagaji.
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 Okay, Fukumoto. Okay. Fields.
Nagaji.
So was found guilty. His papacy was
Fields?
declared null.
Oh,
Nagaji.
His
Okay, Nagaji. Okay, Lee,
the 3 years he used.
Nagaji.
Goff,
Nagaji.
Tong. Yes. Nagaji, okay. Moylan,
Nagaji.
Sophia,
Nagaji.
okay, Kawano,
Nagaji.
okay, Fox,
Nagaji?
okay, Mishraki,
Nagaji.
okay, Carter, okay, Armstrong,
Nagaji.
okay, that's 15, that's 16 votes. And Dave is still the chair.
Thanks, everyone. I'm going to keep the meeting moving. Thank you very much. Going now to election of the vice chair. Do we have any nominations for vice chair? Member Fukumoto?
Yes, Chair, I'd like to nominate myself. Elton Fukumoto.
All right. And do we have any additional nominations for member? I'll go in the order I saw them in. Sophia's nomination, then member Fox's nomination. Go ahead. Oh, sorry. We only need seconds, but I'm sure Elton appreciates it. All right. So we have Member Fukumoto nominated for vice chair. Do we have any other nominations for vice chair? Member Fox?
I nominate Chris Moylan.
Member Moylan, do you accept? All right. We have 2 candidates for vice chair. Anyone online making nominations? All right. We have 2 candidates on the ballot, so there's going to be a competitive election, and so I'll give each of you the opportunity to make any statement you want about anything about yourself, anything about why you want to be vice chair. So we'll go to member Fukumoto first, then we'll go to member Moylan.
Thank you, Chair. The most important job of the vice chair is to fill in for the chair when he can't perform certain duties. The most important is really being the presiding officer of meetings. When former Chair Armstrong was chair, I stepped in for him in 2 meetings, and I ran 2 meetings, so I have experience in that area. I'm also presuming that I will be kept on as timekeeper, and the timekeeper has to sit next to the chair. So I will be presumably doing 2 jobs at the same time. And that is why it's good to sit next to the chair. Another thing is that I have no ambition to become the chair. So if Dave Nagaji decides not to run at a certain point, I will not be running to fill his position. Thank you.
Thanks, Mayor Fukumoto. And turn now to member Moylan.
Yes, the vice chair's primary job is to fill in for the chair. I've done that, including at meetings of the chairs and vice chairs that they have by Zoom with all the neighborhood boards. I've filled in for Dave on several of those occasions. I'm very, very familiar with parliamentary procedure. I used to be vice mayor of a city, and I know my Roberts rules in and out. And so I'm perfectly capable of filling in for the chair. Also, there's no reason to make someone do double duty. I think Elton's done such a great job as timekeeper that that's what he should continue to do. But now I do understand why I didn't have my seat next to the chair when I came into the meeting tonight. I had no idea this was afoot. Anyway, I will be happy to serve as vice chair if you choose to elect me again.
All right. Hanson, please do the roll call vote.
Okay, you want to call your name? Either say Fukumoto or Moylan. Kamemoto?
Fukumoto.
Okay, Watson?
Fukumoto.
Bozo?
Fukumoto.
Okay, Nagaji?
Fukumoto.
Fukumoto. Okay. Okay. Fields?
Moylan.
Okay. Okay, Lee?
Fukumoto.
Okay. Koff? Joanne? Oh, you're muted. Moylan or Fukumoto? You're muted.
Fukumoto.
Okay. Chong?
Fukumoto.
Okay. Moylan? Oh,
Moylan.
okay. Sophia?
Fukumoto.
Okay. Kawano?
Fukumoto.
Okay. Fox? Okay. Asherki?
Komodo.
Carter?
Fukumoto.
Armstrong?
Moylan.
Okay, that's 12 votes for Fukumoto, 4 votes for Moylan. Fukumoto is the vice chair.
All right. Thank you, Hanson. Going out. Going now to election of secretary. Do we have a nomination for secretary, including self-nominations? Any nominations for secretary?
Self-nominate myself for secretary.
All right. Any other nominations for secretary? Going once, going twice. Seeing and hearing none. It looks like member Koff is the only nomination for secretary. Hanson, please do the roll call.
Okay, when I call your name, please say Koff. Kamemoto?
Off.
Okay, Watson?
Cough.
Okay, Bozo?
Cough.
Nagaji?
Koff.
Fukumoto? Okay, Fields?
Off.
Okay, Lee?
Cough.
Okay, Koff? Something I could do. Okay, just kidding. Okay, Chong?
Cough.
Moylan,
Cough.
okay, Sophia,
Cough.
okay, Kawano,
Cough.
okay, Fox, okay, Mashreki,
Cough.
Carter,
Cough.
and Armstrong.
Cough.
Okay. Cough is the secretary still.
All right, going now to treasurer. Do we have any nominations, including self-nominations for treasurer? Anyone online? Going once, going twice.
Patty, do you want to do it again? Patty Quano? Patty, hello? Do you want to be
Is there
treasurer?
I was going to nominate Patty.
okay.
Come on up.
Member Bosel
Yeah,
has
Otherwise, I'll
nominated.
nominate her either way.
Well, Member Kawano, you've been nominated. Are you interested?
Yes, if no one else is available, I will be happy to.
All right. Is there any other nominations for treasurer? All right. Looks like Kawano is the only one. Please go ahead.
Okay, when I call your name, please say Kawano. Kamemoto,
Kawano.
Watson,
Kawano.
okay, Bozo,
Kawano.
Nagaji,
Kawano.
Fields, Fukumoto, Fields. Oh, you said Kawano, okay. Lee,
Yes.
Kawano, you vote for Kawano for secretary?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Oh, treasurer, sorry. Cough,
Yeah, yes.
Kawano, okay. Chong,
Kawano.
okay. Moylan,
Kawano.
Sophia,
Kawano.
Kawano,
Kawano.
yep, Fox, Mashreki,
One.
okay, Carter,
Kawano.
and Armstrong.
Kawano.
Okay, Kawano is the treasurer.
All right. Great. And one last thing, we didn't have a second vice chair during this past year, but in the past we have had second vice chair. So is there any interest in nominating a second vice chair for anyone? All right, it doesn't look like there's any interest in, oh,
Are we going to nominate someone for timekeeper or no?
sure, let's do timekeeper nominations.
Elton, didn't you say you were just going to do it? That works too because you're right next to the chair.
All right, you know what,
I think the office was claimed.
Elton, are you going to remain as time?
I would like to remain as timekeeper.
Does anyone have a problem with Elton remaining as timekeeper? All right, seeing no, oh, I see raised hand from Member Kawano.
I was gonna suggest, since we had two candidates for vice chair earlier, can the second person be the second vice chair? I believe it will be Chris
Member
Moylan.
Moylan, are you interested in serving as second vice chair?
It's my fondest dream, Dave.
All right, is there a nomination for second vice chair?
Should really run for class clown. I think I'm very good at that.
Is there a nomination?
I'd like to nominate Moylan for second vice chair.
All right, Member Oslin has nominated. Member Moylan, do you accept?
Sure.
Right. Are there any other nominations for second vice chair? Going once, going twice. All right, looks like Member Moylan is the only candidate. Anson, please do the roll call for second vice chair.
When I call your name, please say Moylan. Kamemoto,
Moylan.
okay, Watson,
Moylan.
okay, Bozo,
Moylan.
okay, Nagaji,
Moylan.
okay, Fukumoto, okay, Fields,
Moylan.
Lee, Moylan, Moylan, yes. Okay.
Moylan, yes.
Okay. Goff,
Moylan.
okay. Chong,
Moylan.
Moylan. Okay. Sophia,
Moylan.
Guano,
Moylan.
Fox. Okay, Sharkey,
Moylan.
Carter,
Moylan.
and Armstrong.
Moylan.
Okay, Christopher Moylan, second chair, vice chair.
All right. So it looks like we finished elections, and because no one has an objection to Member Fukumoto remaining as timekeeper, he'll remain as timekeeper. So I'll take items B and C at the same time. This is the meeting time, date, location, as well as the determination of the recess schedules. Currently, Manoa Neighborhood Board number 7 presently meets on the first Wednesday of the month at 6:30 p.m. at Olana Elementary School and via WebEx. And we have up to 3 recesses per year. Our board presently has a recess schedule December 2026 and July 2027. So same months as the previous year. Does anyone want to make any motion to change the time, location, format, or recess schedule? If not, if no one makes a motion, it will just remain as is. Is there any motions to change it?
Chair Nagaji, Member Armstrong, I guess the question before us is whether or not, given our power to meet only 9 times a year, whether we would like to make an additional month a recess month, just for everyone's clarification.
Well, it's that or any change to the recess schedule, whether it's changing months or adding a month or eliminating a month. But currently it's December 2026 of this year and then July 2027 of next year. So seeing and hearing no raised hands, doesn't look like anyone wants to change the recess schedule or time or our location or anything. So it will remain as is, as it's currently reflected in Roman numeral 3, B and C. Going on to rules of speaking and time limits. First, rules of speaking. So I wrote this out. And I apologize. I misquoted or I miscited the neighborhood plan. It currently says 2-14-117. It should be 2-14-118 discussion. But anyway, so for rules of speaking, and this is taken from the text of the neighborhood plan, when a board member or person properly before the board wishes to speak, the member or person shall address the chair, be recognized before proceeding, and shall confine remarks to the subject under discussion, avoiding personalities and abusive language. Remarks that include profanity or disrespectful, disparaging, or abusive will be considered violations of order and decorum, and the maker of such remarks may be removed as provided for in 2-14-117B. And, I'm just, again, this is in the plan, regardless of whether I say it. I'm just mentioning this as a reminder because we had just some discussion last time about, behavior during meetings. So, there's a lot of stuff here. As chair, I don't really care about, crosstalk or addressing the chair. The part that I think is important is the part about not using abusive language, not making personal attacks, and not being disparaging or disrespectful or abusive. So just wanted to flag that. Is there any discussion on that point before we move on? Anyone online? Member Fox, go ahead.
I'd like to expand that to all of our committees that meet outside of the board, that we maintain such civility and respect. Okay?
All right. Going out now to time limits. So currently, and I had a person who called me the other day and give me some pushback on this, but currently the formal time limit is 60 seconds for any questions or comments, and the chair or the timekeeper has the discretion to allow people additional time. That's what we've been doing for a while now. It's just basically putting in writing what our practice has been. Does anyone have any objection to that or want to make comment on it or change it? Member Armstrong, then Tom Heinrich.
Mahalo, Chair Nagaji. As someone who has been an advocate in the past and encouraged the board successfully to adopt a shorter speaking time limit, I think it's important to emphasize that the shorter time limit of 60 seconds is not a blanket ban on people speaking longer. It allows the chair to have discretion to keep the meeting moving along. And since there are so many parts of this meeting, monthly reports, special interest items, it's very important that the board chair and leadership maintain flexibility and maneuverability, whether or not it's 60 seconds, 2 minutes, fill in the blank. Mahalo.
I'll go to Tom Heinrich, Member Fox.
Thank you, Sitan. Thank you, Chair. Tom Heinrich, in my individual capacity, I agree with the last statement having to do with the flexibility of the chair, the presiding officer, in administering some control over the testimony. What is always offensive to me personally is when you look at any organization's agenda indicating that there's in essence a 1 minute limit on comments, participating testimony, that serves first as a barrier. And it's not, I think, in keeping with the main role of the neighborhood board as a representative body for the community to in fact serve as that forum. Secondly, the adjacent neighborhood boards, just looking in this area, have a minimum of 2 minutes, and as well the neighborhood commission has as a minimum 2 minutes, subject as well to the control of the presiding officer. On that basis, I want to make two suggestions. The first is, for the purposes of your statement on the agenda, that you suggest the guideline of 2 minutes. It's simply more welcoming, especially when you consider some of the discussions that this neighborhood board has entertained in just the recent months, and the amount of participation and the extent of the substance of some of those remarks. And then secondly, somewhere in here is also a reference to a limit on, it's either 3 or 5 minutes for presentations. And depending on the nature of the presentation, I would also urge the board to consider a more general statement, simply that appropriate or reasonable time for presentations will be determined in consultation with the chair. Too many chairs that I do observe take a look at or place the burden on the timekeeper, and the bottom line is then you arbitrarily interrupt the substance of whatever the presentation is, or the participation of the members of the public, especially. Thank you, Chair.
Member Fox and Member Wyland.
I totally agree with Tom. Having been in council in California, a responsible 2-minute time limit to express what your thought is not unreasonable. I don't know how to express myself in 60 seconds, especially when it's an issue which we've had before, like monster homes or, homeless problems. It takes more than 60 minutes to express your entire thought, particularly if you've really thought this out. So I hope that the board will keep a 2-minute time level. If we have 20 people speaking, then it's appropriate to, after the first 5 people, to reduce the time limit to 1 minute, because most likely it's going to be a repetition of the same issues that came up before. That's what we did in council. On the other hand, a presentation, 5 minutes. If somebody is coming in here with expertise and wants to give us an explanation about an issue which is really important to us, I don't want to restrict the information and the background information from us so that we can make a good decision. So I think 5 minutes is an appropriate time limit for presentations, wherever they come from. Thank you.
I'll respond to that in a second, but first, Member Moylan.
Yes, 2 minutes goes by really fast. Even the 3-minute limit we used to have when I was on the city council back in California goes by really fast. I would say 60 seconds is not really workable. I think if that were adopted, almost nobody would be willing to make it. But the thing that really can prevent a meeting from going too long, which I do understand we have to do since we have chosen to have our meetings here where we're forced to be out the door at 8:30, shortening our previous 3-hour meetings down to 2. So we are forced to adopt something like this. But the real way to make the meeting not go too long is to place that same limit on members of the board. In almost every body I've seen, it's the elected officials who actually burn too much time, not so much the citizens who come down there to make a point. So I think we should all try to get done in 2 minutes.
So I'll just, remember, was it raised hand? No? Sorry. So, all right, I understand the comments made by Member Fox and Member Moylan. It often is our policy to have an informal, informally allow people to go for 90 seconds or 2 minutes, but, we'll We will try to keep it open for 90 seconds or 120 seconds. But if things get too tight, then we're probably going to fall back on 60 seconds. So is that okay with everyone? Having 60 seconds as the fallback if time gets too tight?
Chair
Yeah.
Nagaji.
Yeah.
Hi, agree with everything that Tom said, Tom Heinrich. So I really think just looking at this when I came in today was 1 minute, 60 seconds. It is, it's, I think to everyone who comes here tonight and for other events and other issues, they want to see 2 minutes. Come on, they're here. They're spending all their time, they're listening to us do all this stuff. 2 minutes is the least we can do for the community who comes to talk to us about the neighborhood issues that we're talking about.
Right. So I don't think we need a motion, but based on what I'm hearing, I think the rule we're going to proceed with is we're going to do 2 minutes, and we'll be open to revising that if it has problems. It will try for 2 minutes. Any objections to that being the policy? All right, that's policy then. 2 minutes is going to be the standard. All right, and one last thing before we move on from rule of speaking and time limits. I've gotten some negative feedback in the past over text message from people who've told me that people have told me that I show favoritism to certain speakers when, you know, I call rule violations on some people but not others. So I just wanted to put it out there that if anyone feels that I am showing anyone favoritism or that I'm not calling out things that I should be calling out, that they are free to raise a point of order during the meeting so we can address it then rather than them texting me after the meeting. So if you think I'm not applying the rules equally, then feel free to say so and we can address that. All right, going now to our mandatory board business. We still have Member Fox. So Member Fox gave his explanation. This is Roman numeral 4, item C. Member Fox gave his explanation that he was out of the country. I explained that he gave me advance notice, but the neighborhood board system doesn't recognize excused absences, so this is still on the agenda. So at this time, I'm opening up to motions from the
Dave
board.
Nagaji, can you talk a little slower? I'm sorry.
Okay.
You're
Sorry.
just like really, really fast and it's hard to catch. Thank
I'm
you.
sorry, I'm rushing. I'll slow down. So going back to Roman numeral 4, mandatory board business. Item C, the 3 absence letter from member Robert Fox. So he gave his explanation about why he had 3 absences. And we're now opening it up to members if anyone wants to make a motion to remove member Fox. If no one makes a motion, we'll stay on the board. Is there a motion to remove member Fox? All right, seeing there are none, great. Member Fox remains on the board. And going to our last one, Joseph Mishrecki, item D. Member Mishrecki, please go ahead and give your statement or your explanation or whatever you wanted to say.
Yeah, thank you. In the interest of time, I'll just explain that it was family obligations that took me away from the meeting. I apologize, and I will do my very best to be able to continue in attendance, and I have every intention to be able to continue as a board member as well.
All right, thanks. So having heard that, is there a motion from the board to remove member Mishrecki?
Point of order. It's not a motion to remove the member. It's a motion to vacate the seat. We're not passing moral judgments on any board members. I mean that seriously. I'm not being cute.
Syntax notwithstanding, is there a motion to vacate the seat currently held by member Mishrecki? Seeing and hearing none. All right, great. Member Mishrecki remains on the board. We're now going to our substantive business. So we're going to go to the flooding issue. I was at the town hall. There's a summary on the agenda under Roman numeral 5, item A, about the things that were said at the emergency preparedness town hall. But I think there's other people who want to speak on this. So I'm going to open it up for discussion. Is there anyone who wants to speak regarding the flooding situation and or the project that's happening with the stream? If so, please raise your hand. Member Fox?
Yes, I contacted the city regarding, and thank you, Jesus, the city is actually going to pay for workers to clean the Mānoa stream because we've been doing that as a voluntary organization for a long time. I asked them whether we could volunteer along with the city, and I didn't get an affirmative act response. So I sort of want to send message to City Hall that you don't kick out volunteers just because you finally decided it's your responsibility to do stuff. because, we're part of this community and we love it. And many a time I've been knee deep in the Manoa stream, pulling out saplings of albizia trees and schlepping garbage in buckets, and I want to continue at 74. I still am active and I still want to do that. So I'd like to have our board communicate to the city and saying, find some allowance somehow where our volunteers can continue doing the work of cleanup of the Manoa Valley.
Sorry, 1 second. Is there anyone from the city or the state who wanted to make a statement regarding the situation with the stream or the project there or with the flooding? Because I was told there might be someone from the city or the state coming to make a statement tonight. Oh, Gavin Thornton.
So I don't know that I'm qualified to do that, but I did have a question for Board Member Fox. Just a clarification. Did you get a negative response, or they just didn't respond to you?
I got a negative response. They had
Okay.
a liability insurance for your workers, of course, which are under an umbrella. And we don't have that, but nonetheless, we volunteered. And honestly, I think
Yeah.
it's a matter of opt out, but I did not get an affirmative.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
All right, Member Watson online.
Thank you. My concern is that they have excavators and they're dredging the stream. They're bulldozing down all the vegetation along the side, and it's my understanding they're starting with the part of the stream at Manoa District Park. And with Malama Manoa and people who have cleaned that up, that's probably the least problematic area of the stream. But I think the city owns the property, so they're starting there. But they have excavators in there. They put up fencing and blocked off along the stream to all people other than their contractors, and they hired subcontractors. And it was my understanding that they're going to use heavy equipment and take out the vegetation and re-slope the sides of the stream, making it deeper, and that they're going to put some kind of material on there so vegetation can't grow back. And I'm a little concerned that it's going to become a concrete laden culvert or something and not our stream. And they're going to do that for 2 months. And then they're going to move on down to where the problem areas are of Woodlawn Bridge and stuff. So I'm just watching it happen. And I have concerns about it. And that's what they said that they were going to do. So that's why I think they can't let people like Malama Manoa or people that want to help out. They're not just pulling stuff, they're bulldozing stuff. Yeah. Okay. That's all. If go down by the stream and you can watch them do it. So thank you.
Hold on. Oh, we'll come back to you. Any other board members who want? Member going to Armstrong, then Sophia, then Bosel.
So, Member Armstrong, thank you, Nagaji. 2 points. I would really appreciate if the city and state would have their respective subject matter experts come before the board to tell us clearly ahead of time what they're doing and why. This is obviously very complicated, but we're a smart group of people. We can understand some things. And long term, because this may be a short-term action primarily, I've always thought Manoa Stream is the primary asset of the community. Ultimately, what I want in terms of community development is to hearken to Ms. Lamb in the audience, what Japanese landscape architecture does, shake, the idea that you build around your assets and you funnel the views to incorporate them, not to obscure. We want a more naturalistic stream. We want access to it, and we want to be able to see it in safety. Obviously, they have to prioritize safety, but at least that's my read on what the community wants thus far, and what I have years of experience in bringing to bear in terms of the values that we should be standing up for as a community. Mahalo.
Member Sophia.
and to try not to get emotional. I grew up in this valley. I've been playing in that stream since I was 10 years old. And in the last 5 or 10 years, I've been up there multiple times a week with my neighbors' dogs. They frolic in the stream. Lepto, yeah, we had 2 dogs die of lepto, but they got the lepto, the vet thought, from the parking lot. The lowest part of the parking lot, the Mackay Diamond Head corner, where there's a drain that the city just came in with a dump truck yesterday and massive amounts of rock and, asphalted the adjacent and covered the drain with rock. And then did something similar to the drain below the tree that's just a few feet away on the sidewalk, where there's another drain. I think because I have video that I took about 20 minutes before the first flash flood warning of the sidewalk overflowing at that spot, of the parking lot overflowing onto the sidewalk and cascading all the way down to the bottom of the park. I believe that is the main thing that, one of the main things that contributed to the flooding of the houses on Lowry. Apparently, there's been speculation that the stream breached the wall at the Mackay end of the sidewalk. It's a very high wall. I haven't had a chance to talk to the people that live across the stream, but I was told by an engineer yesterday that if the houses across the stream didn't flood, then the stream didn't breach the wall on the park side either. So what that would mean is that the saturated ground from the Kona lows, the ongoing cascade of water down the sidewalk from the asphalt parking lot, and the filling of a totally choked with overgrown guinea grass ditch that runs along the Mackay boundary and feeds into the stream perpendicularly from on an west to east direction, probably overtopped. So all of that, with the wet soil, it wouldn't take the breaching of the stream. I think that their plan is totally going to destroy our stream, and what we're going to end up with is a cement channel. And then they're going to, and as a part of this trajectory, we're going to start hearing that our park is an appropriate place for a detention basin. So I don't know what we can do about this, but I think the board should write a letter to the governor, and maybe it's going to take a legal injunction to stop them. But if the contractors have already signed a contract, they seem like nice guys. They need to work, but there has to be a better way to do this, because dredging is known to cause something called the engineering trap. And what happens is you dredge, the stream speeds up, you get increased erosion and undermining of the banks, you get landslides, you get increased flooding, and then there's a call to dredge again. And pretty soon the call is to harden the stream. So I don't have a solution, but I think the board needs to do something quickly.
Okay, so I see a lot of people backed up. So we'll go to Member Bosel, then John Heinrich, then Glenn Ochiguro, then you, and then Member Fox.
Thank you, Chair. In lieu of writing a letter to anyone right now, I'd like to request any of our representatives who are here in person, thank you, or online, or our representatives, who are here to be their little sentry today, to urge DOT and DFM, I believe, who are the 2 joint people taking care of this project, to immediately provide us with more information. I think we were all really looking forward to getting some actual details other than an extremely vague, like 2-sentence or 1-sentence description of what is going to occur. It's impossible to evaluate what was written there on any sort of merits. And so I think all of the community wants more information ASAP.
I just wanted to let everybody know that Hawaii Department of Transportation is heading up this project. So they're working with the state, and then the city's hauling the debris. As I understand it, the city has deferred to Hawaii Department of Transportation, and they're running it.
All right. Thank you, Member Watson. Tom Heinrich?
Thank you, Chair. I'll keep my comments brief. Tom Heinrich in my individual capacity. Too many years working with Manoa Stream as a resident, as a board member, working at the legislature, whatever. One of the proudest things that I was able to participate in during the Mayor Jeremy Harris administration was the opportunity during the Vision Team program to actually help design a project on the Eva side of Manoa Stream, along that portion of the stream that was owned by the city and county, part of Manoa Valley District Park, such that the way you look at it today is not the way it was prior to 2001, when there were major polys literally at that place, comments about undercutting the bank, et cetera. We had the opportunity to do a number of things to improve the use of Manoa Valley District Park, potentially not as a retention basin, or excuse me, a detention, but a temporary retention basin by making the slopes lower to allow water flow at flood periods to come into the park as compared to simply accelerate and go downstream, et cetera. Other things that can be said, the bottom line is that there was a period of time in the early 2000s that in fact this community through the neighborhood board, particularly through Malama Manoa, had a written memorandum of understanding with the city and county for dredging and other maintenance twice a year. That later evaporated due to a number of problems, including problems with the EPA in getting the stream maintenance permits. That was a national issue that we had to endure. But at this particular point, when you take a look, I believe at Senator Fukunaga's newsletter for this evening, but when you consider whatever discussions there have been recently, public discussions in the special community meeting just a few weeks ago, in which we had over 160 people here in Noelani, the bottom line is there are no proposals to extend any of the concrete channelization anywhere along Manoa Stream. This is a long delayed response by whichever agency. It happens to now be the coordination between the State Department of Transportation, in essence, helping the Department of Land and Natural Resources, as well as the City and County of Honolulu's Department of Facility Maintenance, to do what should be a regular once or twice annual flood mitigation, dredging, and other clean out in that area, particularly between Kahaloa Drive Bridge and to the downstream side of Woodlawn Drive Bridge there by Longs. So a lot of other things that could be said, but from my perspective and the other things that I participated in over the years, I greatly welcome finally this response. Unfortunately, it took yet another flood at the end of March for us to finally get this response, but it is in direct reaction to the strength of this community's interest in having some of these things responded to as compared to yet another study. So more information will be coming, but the starting point, I think, as to where we are is in Senator Fukunaga's newsletter. And my understanding is that folks started, they were on the job. This is Wednesday, this past Monday, in order to get going on the project. Thank you, Chair.
And then we'll get to.
Glenn Antaguro. I live along Manoa Stream before the Kahaloa Bridge, which is right where the dredging is being occurring along the park. In 2004, our house flooded. It was because of the lack of any kind of maintenance of any part of the stream. Um, and what happened during that flood brought this situation down. It reduced the amount of flow in Mānoa Stream in this area and pushed a berm on the in the other side of the stream near the park. I only noticed that about a couple of years ago since I don't walk in the park that much. And I've been requesting that every chance I get to dredge that part of the stream because the stream is much narrower than what it was before the 2004 flood. And what as Tom Heinrich has been saying, I totally agree about what he's been saying about it. And I really don't have a lot more to include into that detail. It's just that I have seen personally the problems with the stream since the 2004 flood. Thank you.
And sorry I passed it earlier, but please go ahead.
So I actually live in Pololo, but me and that guy there, we work in Pololo Stream, Mānoa Stream, and Makiki Stream. Hey, Elton, how you doing? And I'm gonna time myself. So there we go. We work with I'm Andy Sharuk. I work for a program called Pa'ipa'i Waikolu, and we train students to monitor stream animals in our stream, and they are never discussed in any of these conversations. After the Kona Loa floods, yes, those were super destructive for human beings. And we saw record numbers of hinana, the baby o'opu, returning to Mānoa Stream. Okay. And now we're seeing immediately with this, right? These are fear-based, right? Oh, we didn't do all the maintenance. Everyone has said here the maintenance wasn't done. And now all of a sudden we have this fear-based reactionary thing happening. We see that all the time. We report fallen things. There's no enforcement. There's not enough better maintenance in different ways. We even this year submitted to the city charter, looking into the city charter, which all of our laws are based off of. There is nothing in there about o'opu when it comes to streams. Streams are related to drainage canals. They are to be managed by engineers, right? We tried to actually, this is the year for new amendments to be put through. We tried to put one through to suggest that that should be a broadened group of people. We have examples like in Aotearoa, where there is personhood for streams, right? There are plenty of opportunities for us here. The state, I'm watching Ed Sniffen, for example, talk about I did give myself, okay. So all I'm trying to say is there's not actually federal protection for o'opu, and part of the reason is that there's not enough study to decide if their populations are okay or not. Our students have been doing that for a decade in Mānoa Stream, okay? We've seen the populations come up and down. We see that the bass are whacking them more than anything else, okay? This is an opportunity for us to really reshape. We didn't know about this. We are gonna have to cancel every single thing that we do until December with all of the students in this place. We were not notified. A teacher told us on Sunday night that those things were gonna roll in, and we get an award from the city every year. How great our work is, all these things. No one talked to us. No one, there's a hydrologist, I saw her name on here. No one talked to her, she lives in this valley. Why are we not using the resources of our communities and of our experts who do this work and who care about this work in our community groups? We're just letting this stuff happen. It's pathetic. It's absolutely disgusting, the way that streams are spoken about. It's a language matter at its heart, right? We're not just residents, that's not just a stream canal. That is our responsibility to care for. That's all.
All right. We'll go to Brenda, then Laura.
Real fast here. I called both the city and the state
as representative from Malama Manoa because we just completed our stream cleaning on this exact section. And we were not informed that anything was upcoming. But I was told to come to this meeting tonight because DOT would be here to give us details about what they were doing. And it was going to be our opportunity. You guys might not know about this, but that's what they told me to come here tonight. And they're not here. And I don't think that's fair for the community because we need more information. We can't even make a judgment about what they're doing because we don't know what they're doing. Get that?
And yeah, I will request for the city and the state to send someone to talk to us next month. But for now, Laura, please go ahead.
Hi, thank you very much, Laura Ribby, Manoa Stream nearby resident. First of all, there's two different parts to this very quickly. This is talking about what dredging is going on now, but the real thing that should be going on, I believe, with Senator Fukunaga and others is something called planning. I'm a believer in bottom-up community planning. This means that everything with the OPU and the other kinds of things should all be considered. And before anything's done, this dredging should only be those 3 or 4 things they announced in their press release. And they should not scour the bottom because it'll suck up all the little opus. And they should carefully remove the vegetation inside the stream, but they should not remove it from the big trees from the sides. The big trees from the sides have roots and they hold the bluestone, the historic bluestones in place. And I'm going to leave this with people over here to show you the log Nessie. You might have remembered at the early part of the 20th century, 21st century, they were, it was there, they cut it down, they left it in there, and then finally another big storm came along and it ripped itself out and a whole section of the wall, and it went on down to the Alawai Canal. So we don't need to have that kind of destruction on destruction. Leaving the trees in is a good idea. It's not going to hurt it's not going to hurt the riprap. That's the uncemented version if you have some in some places, and it won't hurt any of the bluestone walls. So I would suggest that whatever the angling of the stream is, I don't know if that is appropriate or not, and how are they going to do it? Are they just going to fill it with cement? That is you should, go down to the special landfill and get some more bluestone and do something that's appropriately historical for the stream. And the walkways that could be put in there for everybody to walk up and down the stream, I hope that those come to be someday. Tom Heinrich and Karen Amai and others started one that went all the way up from the canal, all the way up through Kamuki High School. And it was planted that way. It's a bike and walking path, and those things can easily be connected. That makes the graciousness of our community shine. So I think I'll stop with that, but I will give this and share with the board, and anybody can see it that wants to. Thank you.
Okay, we'll go to you in a second. First, Member Kawano online, and then we'll go to you. Member Kawano?
Thank you, Chair. My question relates back to the lack of communication from either state or city DOT about the whole plan to drench the stream. What about, beyond Manoa Marketplace, like go downstream through UH and even all the way down to the merge of Palolo Stream and Manoa Stream, over there? How are they going to do anything? Work on that, clearing any overgrown vegetation. In fact, further down, almost down by Kamuki High School, under the bridge there's a lot of homeless people out there, and then I see trash and dogs running around and stuff. I mean, is there any plan to help clean up that area as well? So next month, if they're going to be here, I would like to hear more about the whole plan and not just what they're going to do. Thanks.
All right, Member Kawano, please go ahead.
Aloha, ahi kako, John Quincy Adams. A couple of meetings ago, when this subject was brought up, you might recall that I brought up that yellow light for when I hear dredging, it's a cautionary thing for me. It's a yellow light. I brought up the OPU that was already brought up this evening, and then don't forget, I hope we still have hi'iwai, the freshwater snail, and I hope we still have the opai, the freshwater shrimp, all of which are edible. And so and I also mentioned before, I would think something more compatible would be, and conservation wise would be like chainsaws, cane knives, and netting maybe on the sides to prevent erosion, stuff like that. When I hear dredging, I realize human lives and people's property take precedent over native species, but it's a concern for me. Mahalo.
Is there anyone who hasn't spoken yet who wants to speak? Uh,
I don't want to repeat too much what my colleague has already said. Corey Yap from University of Hawaii. I'm a stream biologist there. Been working in Manoa Stream for quite a while, and I know quite a bit about, I think, what's happening is biologically. I'm not a hydrologist. And I think it's important that at least we would get a little bit of notice if possible, because I know the flooding of personal property is very important and the safety of humans is very important, but we're able to move a lot of these animals that we know that are in these spaces to above where the dredging is happening so that some of these animals won't get lost and just bulldoze over, because that happened already to us at some of our other study sites down lower in Kaimaki. So it's we did ask for a little bit of heads up on that from the city, but again, declined. It's not important enough for us to do that. And I'm willing to drop what I'm doing to go out there and do that just for those animals. But I mean, again, it's not of a high value, I think, with what we think is important, but I'm hoping more people will feel that way.
someone online, Yin Fan
Who in
Sang.
the city declined? Sorry, can I ask a
sure.
follow-up question, Chair? Who in the city declined to allow you regarding moving things, animals for this dredging event?
Not this event in Kaimaki.
Okay.
This is the earlier one from
But-
DFM.
Did you reach out to them
I wasn't
regarding?
told till like too late. It's like already happening. Yeah.
So online, Yin Fan Sang, please go ahead.
Aloha, can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. So my name is In Fen Zhen. I'm a hydrologist. I work with UH. I'm a professor in hydrology. I'm also in support of stream ecology. So just to say that about my background, but first of all, I'm also Manoa resident. I live on Alani Street, not by the stream, but in the last March, the Manoa flood, my house actually got flooded as well. So I'm happy to, if there's opportunity, I want to talk about the mechanism that caused the flood in March based on my lab study. But then I want to in support of Andy and Corey and then other very nice neighborhood board that have mentioned that I think the communication from the this project, again, I am very much in support of continuously and then sustainable of maintenance of the stream waterway. But at the same time, and because I think protecting property is definitely something, and then the human life is very important, and our school, our students, and our kids. But then I think the communication is really not aligned with what the good intention is trying to do. And then especially we heard that the Malama Manoa, the neighborhood board has been trying to clean our stream. But then it sounds like it's not in good communication, learning that the dredging is happening nearby the park. And then I literally just learned about it while I actually drove down the street all the time, but I didn't know that this is happening. So that's really definitely caught off surprise. So I want to voice that, and I was hoping to hear more about the plan. And I think one of the board members was talking about maybe the entire plan, including downstream, what's the moving forward about what the maintenance is. And especially these gonna affecting, for example, those Pai Ovaikolu's education program that constantly educating and outreach and educating our next generation about how important our stream and watersheds are. So thank you and appreciate the opportunity to speak about this. Mahalo.
Okay. And again, is there anyone here who has not spoken yet, wanted to speak? Anyone online? All right, we're trying to address people who spoke earlier. Member Fox, then Member Sofio, then Member Bosel.
Thank you. I appreciate the summary that was given to us. by Carol Fukunaga. It points out something which is a critical problem, and that is the city and county based their decision on a summary which was wrong. You know, I'm sorry, but I mean, I had arguments with the mayor regarding 11 catch basins in the Manoa Valley to prevent flooding. And then we got down to like putting a catch basin in the Alawai golf course. And they were going to cement up this and cement up that and cement up that. And this was from the Army Corps of Engineers. P.S. We had 3 different groups of young 24-year-old people come in from Washington who had never set foot in Hawaii in their lives to make decisions about what happens in this state. We're on an island. And you know what? We have history here that tells us what we should and should not do. And I fought very hard against this, but the main thing I'm fighting against here is lack of communication one more time. Why is it that every single time neighborhoods come together, have to protest, have to organize, just so the city and county will talk to us? They should have been talking to us way before this project, or we wouldn't have this discussion here tonight, because we don't know what's going on. And of course, Ellen Watson's fear may be real. In that suggestion from the Army Corps of Engineers, luckily we didn't get the $1 billion from the federal government to make a cacophony of a mess. And I was grateful for that. I'm awfully glad we didn't get the $1 billion. But the plan was wrong. This relates also to some bad planning from 1960, where they built the Regency Tower on, I think it was Date Street, and they couldn't set the foundation. So we didn't have any laws back then. We didn't have zoning until 1972. But at the point, they put 30 tons of cement to ground that foundation. And when they did so, they blocked the Mo'ili'ili caves. And that was our actual flood control for the Manoa Valley. It emptied way beyond the breakwater off of Kapiolani Park. And they closed it, so much so that on Houston, the Willows used to be Queen Ka'ahaumanu's springs, and it was a natural spring. Gone. They had to cement the entire thing in. There are consequences for doing stupid stuff without doing research and without listening to the people. I trust our people more than I trust one person in government. God bless them. They all need to have a job, and they need bring the bread home for their families, support all the people, but I don't trust the government. And this is one huge reason why I don't, is because the lack of communication is awful in this situation. All of a sudden, the board is up
Sorry,
here
Mr.
trying to
President.
make a decision,
Time.
and we don't have any information to base it on.
Thank you. Going to Member Sophia, the Member Boso.
Okay, so I got tearful and it was embarrassing, but now I'm realizing that the reason I got tearful is because I am so angry at the way this is going. And the reason I found out is because Governor Green suspended our Hawaii Environmental Policy Act in his 9th executive emergency order a few months ago. It may have been suspended ever since the Lahaina fire. I don't know, but I just found out it was definitely suspended as of May. And so normally, you know, it used to be before they revised and softened the law, and 200 went to 200.1 or whatever. It used to be that there was a phrase, at the earliest possible time, in these types of major environmental situations. All the interested entities are supposed to be consulted at the earliest possible time. They took that out for a reason, because they want to do this kind of stuff behind the backs of the community. It's really outrageous. It's reprehensible. So the other thing I just wanted to say is that because there's a trigger for the environmental review, any use of city and county or state funds. So normally we would be doing an EA, and there would be automatic public participation, formal written comment and all that, but we're being deprived of that. The other thing is that the Woodlawn Bridge is where the flooding happened in 2004 and again in March. And my understanding from Dave Watasi, whom I spoke with for a long time on the phone yesterday, is that the Woodlawn Bridge has not been dredged for 7 or 8 years. And the Woodlawn Ditch has not been cleaned for at least 2 years. So they're causing these problems. And then they're wrecking our stream. And, you know, it's just, and as it's so unfair to the other living creatures that rely on our environment. It's not just for us. And their frickin' use of fossil fuels that's causing all these problems. So anyway, that's all I'll say.
All right, thanks. Member Boxell, go ahead.
I guess I'd like to say that, you know, I'm not as interested in an after action report at the next neighborhood board meeting. I really would like to call on any of our representatives here if we could get some more information before this continues to proceed in the immediate as to what are, you know, somebody in the community said they spoke to one of the people doing this work, and that person couldn't really speak as to what the goals were or what any of the plans were at all with any specificity. And this is somebody who is doing the work. So I think it would be really interesting, you know, this thing that Senator Fukunaga's office, you know, cites is a lot of different studies with a lot of different aims, some of which are much more focused on reducing flooding way downstream versus in the valley. And I think those two outcomes have completely different solutions. And I think the community deserves to know what exactly this work that's about to be, or, you know, currently being undertaken before it continues further. I guess, I really don't want an after action report. I'd like the information ASAP to be presented, as we were told that people were going to be here tonight. So I'm calling on all of our reps now to get some more detail for us so that we can disseminate it to the community now, not next month.
All right, and
Thank you.
I asked this earlier, but I'll ask again. Is there anyone from city or state who can speak to this currently? And I'm not seeing or hearing anyone, so.
Or commit to getting in touch with those folks with a little more oomph than, you know, one random neighborhood board member asking.
So I put out the call, and there's some people
David?
who I know. Yep, go ahead.
Chair Nagaji, this is Gavin Thornton again from the city. During this conversation, I reached out to the director of DFM requesting that someone make themselves available to talk to you all. And then mentioning some of the concerns that I've heard so far. I don't have a commitment or anything. I'm going to need to follow up on that, but I do have just a little more detail that I'd be happy to share right now. Just a
Go
few
ahead.
sentences. We're not dredging the stream and simply clearing it to its original condition. Much of the quote unquote dredging is the accumulated sediment that is built up along the stream banks that has contributed to the unwanted vegetation over time. Concrete lining is unlikely a consideration unless an exhaustive hydrological study is done. FYI, I'm not a proponent of concrete lined channels. That's all I have at this moment, unfortunately. I'd be happy to follow up. I know that's not the level of detail you all are looking for, but happy to continue to follow up on this and try to get somebody here that's knowledgeable.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Chair, may I ask one more really quick question?
Yeah, one really quick question, then we have to move on.
To the folks who do the stream, how long do you need to do the species? I'm trying to say, like, how long would 1 to 2 days to catch some of the animals to save them, you know, here in this stream?
Yeah, I mean, there's a stream lab at UH as well. We could actually enlist quite a few people. It's really not hard. It
1 to 2
actually be a
days?
really beautiful, 1 to 2 days.
And I would imagine that the city would have, you know, precautionary measures for if there was incredibly inclement weather. They could pause their work for 1 to 2 days.
We actually do all of our own forecasting. We saw that the stream was going to jump before.
No.
it did.
What I'm just trying to say is,
Saying-
can we buy you 1 to 2 days if
Yes.
you can drop whatever you're doing to go grab this? Can we get this done? Can we buy you 1 to 2 days to save some of the species now? Can we put that request in to the city to pause their work for 1 to 2 days to get you time to save these species?
So
That is my request as a board member, to get you folks in connection with Gavin or anybody else who can potentially make those requests if it's something that's that fast.
So I think this meeting is probably going to get posted in about 48 hours, but Gavin, can you expedite it and just pass along the gist of what people are asking for to the people who are making these decisions?
Absolutely.
Okay. Sorry, I see a lot of raised hands. I'm going to prioritize the 2 people who haven't spoken yet. Member Fukumoto.
Chair,
and
I
Member
just
Armstrong.
wanted to ask something,
Hold on.
please.
Hold on. There's like 6 people that raised hands right now. And
Well,
I'm gonna-
maybe we can have a special meeting about this before next month. Maybe you can call a special meeting next week or something like that. And we can have the city or Department of Transportation. Is that possible?
I'm asking Anson, is it possible for us to do a call-in emergency meeting in, say, 2 weeks?
Yeah,
Okay.
special meeting.
So we can go on that one?
Okay.
Sorry, I'm no, we're not going to do this as a committee. If we're doing this, it's just going to be as a one-off emergency meeting. So can we do that, Anson?
Let me go ask my, the higher ups, just in case. Just making sure, okay? Yeah, I can.
Okay, make the call. We'll just proceed while you're doing that. Member Fukumoto, you can say what you're going to say while he's making that call.
I just want to confirm with Andy and Corey, would it be possible for you to?
It would be a trial, right? Like there's no certainty that we could do X amount of fish. Like we can't have an agreement like that. We could go out and try to catch fish and relocate them.
So would 48 hours, you think, make a difference?
Sure.
Oh.
I don't know. He's the guy.
You,
Do it.
you would do it? Okay, okay. That's what I wanted to clarify. Thank you.
And I saw a raised hand from Member Armstrong.
Mahalo. Okay. Point of order, though, I do have to insist that because we are recording for Olelo and not just holding the meeting for the room, everyone needs to identify themselves by name in the microphone and speak into the microphone and not call out to the ether. And my points to be raised are, since there's a sense of urgency about this right now, there won't be later. I am a planner, unlike some of the people who kind of neglected to think about the consequences of this. Holistically, this is not just about the maintenance of the stream. It's also about the stormwater management, which is Department of Environmental Services. It's about the valley planning on a long-term reduction of impervious surface as we've built Ohana homes and parking lots and other infrastructure. It's also a long-term plan by the city to work on their inventory of city, especially street trees, and make sure that we have a growing canopy cover across the valley that will be worth its maintenance to retain that water when we have these large events. And that's not everything, but these need to be included. And so far as a board, we're not taking action. We don't have to do this now, but we do want to follow up, I think, on what the community is saying with the bigger picture, because we have this power here to make their concerns amplified. Mahalo.
Who are the other raised hands? Glenn, you can go ahead. Sorry, I'm talking to Anson, but you can go ahead and speak while I'm talking to him.
Lano Taguro. I hear about this meeting that you folks are trying to schedule, which is fine. but we got to know who we're going to be inviting in the meeting. We're hearing a lot of people from Palolo or Kaimuki, UH that don't live in Manoa or live along Manoa Stream. We need to get the folks who actually live along the stream, who actually have a stake in what is done in the stream. In other words, the stakeholders. All of them need to be invited. They need to be, they need to have their say about what's going on with the stream. They're the ones that are going to be directly affected by whatever the city, the state, and what you folks do over here. So it really should be based on that kind of a meeting. So I have not yet seen any kind of meeting like that to fix Manoa Stream, ever. Never seen one. The closest one I saw was at the gym for the 2004 flood, but it was like maybe a handful of stakeholders against maybe about 50 folks from outside of Manoa trying to make a point, say, oh, don't do this, don't do that. We really need to get the stakeholders involved. I mean, like as much as possible, we want them to get involved. And we have not ever done that. I've never seen it. Thank you.
I'm still talking with Hanson. We're still getting details worked out. Laura, you can go ahead.
Laura Ruby again, and just to follow up what I said before, this is the second part of what has to happen. That is flood mitigation.
Sorry, I'm going to pass the gavel to Vice Chair Fukumoto and go talk to Ensign outside.
Okay. And what we're already doing, the Alawai Watershed Collaboration and the Alawai Mauka Community Association and part of the Alawai Flood or Protect Alawai Watershed. We're not officially doing it yet, but we are asking you folks to all gather in your neighborhoods that are most knowledgeable about where flooding has occurred or could occur and get together and really have a walking plan of where the flood happened, where it could be prevented, and what you can think. This is a bottoms-up response that we need. So what we've already done, and we're going to do it again, is go between Dole and Date Street and walk along the stream bed and walk into the Koali Lane, which was severely affected also, and find out the specifics. We already know the specifics. We have some video and everything from the events that happened. If you will choose your own community, the stakeholders, if you want to call them stakeholders, but there's sometimes people know a whole lot about one area of the stream, and get those people together and really come up with the community-owned plan that will do a whole lot to getting us in the right place. Thank you.
Mr. Adams, Mr. Fox first, and then Mr. Adams. Okay.
Don't give me the timer. I'm not that high tech.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm sorry, but we're running out of time, so could I limit you to a
1
minute?
Yes.
Okay.
With due respect to everybody, the Manoa Stream is not just for Manoa. We have done things in the entire Apuaha of this area, which are wrong, and they've affected everybody. Like when we cemented the Pololo Stream 180 degrees into the Manoa Stream, made no sense. So if you want water to drain to the ocean, you don't put a 180-degree smash of water right across the stream. So we've made some horrible mistakes. This time, I think, to be most productive, can the board form a committee, small committee of like maybe 4 to 5 people, and meet with the city and get information like tomorrow? Just go down there and say, okay, you made a mistake, you didn't inform the population, and you need to do so like right now. I don't think that waiting for 3 weeks for the city to come back and say, oh, we don't have time, will work very well for us. So I'd like to form a committee. I'd like the response of the rest of the board to that suggestion.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Adams.
Mahalo nui loa. You know, I would think under this type of situation, I'm not an expert in this area at all, by the way, just common sense kind of guy. I would think the Department of Land and Natural Resources would be involved. We're talking Fisheries Department. I would think maybe forestry. We got UA coming down up Mauka, making the waterfalls and the streams and the pools and et cetera. And so maybe forestry, I would think Board of Water Supply, would be involved. But in regards to the Oopu, Opai, and Hi'iwai, Department of Land and Natural Resources, they handle fisheries like freshwater fishing and stuff in the reservoirs and whatnot. Fortunately, the Oopu, they're really clever. They can climb waterfalls. So I'm sure they're in all our pools and stuff up Mauka. Mahalo.
Right. Thanks. I've taken the gavel back from Member Fukumoto. I was outside talking with Anson as well as one of the higher ups at the NCO. It sounds like we can have well, probably it needs to get approved, but we can probably do a meeting on the 20th of this month. So that will be Thursday, 20th, the Thursday before the holiday this August. If we do that, it will be here at Noelani Elementary School. There may or may not be a Zoom, but that would be the tentative arrangement is an in-person meeting here. August 20th, same time, 6:30 p.m. Noelani Elementary School, Thursday, August 20th, the day before the holiday. We'll request it. So according to Anson, I don't need a motion. So does anyone object? Do any board members object to me calling a special meeting? Is that what it's called? Special? Calling a special meeting for Noelani Elementary School, 6:30 p.m. on Thursday, August 20th.
I have a question, Chair. We only need 7 days notice does this count as sending out public notice? So announcing it here, you can make something even sooner than the 20th, right?
Can we do Friday, the 14th?
We have to check we have to check by Noelani Elementary School if we can have this location again. So we're still going to check that tomorrow morning. Okay.
Okay.
just
So
need confirmation.
we're not yet sure though whether the 20th is
Yes.
available. Would it be possible to, instead of the 20th though, do the 13th? Because today's the 5th, can't we do the 13th instead? I think time is of the essence in this.
Can we do the 13th or is that too late?
We're announcing it here. That's
You guys can, but we just have to know if there's a location first, if it's available.
But will there be time to get the 7-day notice out for the 13th
I'm not too sure.
Is 14th better?
or can it only be online? But they need the location to be confirmed. So if they confirm the location tomorrow, that's 1 week. If they confirm the location tomorrow, that's 1 week's notice.
Also, we have availability of the Baptist Church on University Avenue.
Chair, I wanted to suggest for Robert, instead of forming a committee, Robert, why don't you form a permitted interaction group just for this topic?
Ellen, I was going to speak. So I just wanted to ask Member Bozel if her proposal to Mr. Thornton for the 48 hours, is that a proposal that you are still willing to bring forward and have the board vote on that?
Oh, on voting, sure, yes, absolutely. I think it would be great if we could get this done. Even, I don't need any commitment as to how many fish you will for sure save. Just the idea of doing any amount of good, if we can get the city to halt for 48 hours, that would be great. I'm sure that's, if a big rainstorm came in tomorrow, they would halt anyways. I'm sure they have a contingency plan for a couple of days.
Oh, okay, so you're making a motion. Do we have a second? Okay. Any further discussion? Any?
My motion, I guess, is to have the stream folks speak with Gavin and any other reps. I don't know whether Representative Nishimoto,
But
anybody else is on, you know?
But Gavin Thornton does represent the city, so he
Yeah,
would be
yeah.
the person. Yeah.
I just think we should wait till the chair gets back to take a vote.
So Anson's outside, but I talked to him and his supervisor, and we apparently don't need to specify the date right now. That will come out in the agenda, which will be sent a week prior to the meeting. All we need to do is certify that we are interested in having a special meeting, and the NCO will let us know what date it is, depending on what date they get the meeting notice out. So to Member Fox's point, there's basically procedural rules we need to follow, like having the agenda out 7 days in advance, and the NCO does that. So we have to do things that way. Yes, Member Fukumoto?
Chair, while you were out, Member Bozel made a motion to have Andrea and Corey work in the stream for 48 hours and make that request of Mr. Thornton. And that's a motion that's been made. You were out.
The board is asking formally to have the dredging, all work paused for 48 hours to allow the stream group folks to get in and try to save as many species as they possibly can ASAP. In more formal language.
Mr. Thornton, do we need a motion for this, or can you just do it?
I can relay the request, and I'd be more than happy to. And if I could just share my phone number so that the folks who are there that are knowledgeable about this could just give me a call, and I could get all of the details. That'd be great. I'm going to go ahead and do that. 808-366-7875. You're welcome to call me this evening or tomorrow morning. Yes, I'd be happy to make that request.
Okay, so are we able to withdraw the motion, or?
Point of order.
Yes.
Once the motion is raised, all other discussion needs to stop and the motion needs to be dealt with one way or another. And that is the nature of the meeting.
All right. So Member Bosel, Gavin says he's going to convey it. Do we still need to put it in the form of a motion?
I think it would be nice to know that the whole board supports this and it's not just me. So I would be happy to have it open for debate.
All right. Is there a second? Second by Member Fox, motion by Member Bosel. Ensign, I'll just ask, is there any objection? Is there any objection to Member Bosel's motion to direct Gavin to ask the city, to ask Gavin Thornton to ask the city to allow the group that was speaking here today 48 hours to clear species out of the stream? Is there any objection to that from board members? All right, seeing here none, it looks like that passes uncontested. So.
Chair,
Yes, Member Sophia.
I don't have an objection. I just have a quick question. Are we looking at native birds also and inhabitants, or we're just looking at creatures that are in the stream? Okay.
So, okay, so did that motion pass, Anson?
Yeah, the motion.
Okay, so Anson has told me the motion is passed, so we can move on now. So the meeting, so enlighten us on the procedure, Anson.
I just want to say thank you, Gavin.
Procedures for the special meeting? Oh, okay. So, yeah, is all the boards interested of having a special meeting on the 14th, or it'll be the 14th or the 20th if we can have, is it 20th? Again, or the
So when
You could try
Isn't it gonna
13
be
or 14.
13th?
So we don't need to specify
Oh.
the date. I talked to one of the two Dylans. We don't need to specify the date. We just need to certify that we're interested. So are we all interested? Okay. Is there anyone who has a problem with this on the board? Okay. So we have the interest, and Anson and the other people at NCO are going to book us the first date they can that complies with the 7-day notice rule. Okay. And the news about that is going to come out in via email and snail mail for anyone who's subscribed to the neighborhood board mailouts. Okay. So is there anything further on this issue before we try to cover what's left in the agenda? Going once, going twice. All right.
I have
we will
another
hopefully-
question. Back to
Go ahead.
Robert Fox. Robert, did you want to have a permitted interaction group that you could go ask the Hawaii Department of Transportation or things like that for answers? Because you can start that right away.
Actually, for a permitted
He
interaction group,
suggested you and a couple of people, instead of having a committee, establish a
Remember,
permitted
Watson,
interaction group.
Anson's trying to
Go find
explain
out what
rules.
they're doing.
Anson, explain it.
okay. You guys can make a permitted interaction group, but it has to be on the agenda in the next meeting. It can't be we just form it right now. And it also has to specify on what the intentions are and where the members are in the pig. I can send you guys information just in case, and you guys can just, if you guys want to continue forming it, you just have to have that on the agenda.
Is there
Member
anything
Fox?
we can
I'd be
do
interested-
at this meeting
Hold on.
to
Member Fox
have a
is
group of a
recognized.
couple
Let Member
people?
Fox speak. Member Fox, go ahead.
I would appreciate forming such a committee, a permitted committee. And the reason for this is I don't think this issue is going to disappear anytime soon. So we're going to have to do a lot of follow-up. And I want to have one-on-one conversations with people in charge. I'd love to have Whitney part of that because you're smart and committed. I love you. There you go.
So we'll have it on the next agenda for the next regular meeting for Member Fox to form permitted interaction group. And Anson will send us emails and snail mail regarding if and when we're going to be having a special meeting, and because we've indicated interest. Okay. So we're going to move on now and clear what we can in the remaining agenda. But I expect some of it's probably going to run over to next month. Yes.
May I be recognized, Chair?
Yes, go ahead.
Member Armstrong, I'm requesting at 8:22 that we recognize that Senator Carol Fukunaga has been in the room through the meeting, and I would request that we prioritize taking the agenda out of order so that she may report to the board.
All right. Any objections to that? All right, Member Fukunaga. Going to state monthly reports, item A, Senator Carol Fukunaga.
Yeah, I'll try to stay within my 1 minute. Okay. Part of what I tried to do with my report tonight was to talk about what happened at the June 17th Community Forum, for anyone who was not there. And so basically, as we ended that meeting, I believe that Department of Transportation and Department of Facility Maintenance directors committed to try and put a project together because they saw all the people who had attended. And they saw that people wanted to have something done as quickly as possible to at least remove vegetation and other obstructions. So that was the genesis of, I think, the action that is underway now. But certainly, a lot of the discussion tonight has brought up really important points that I'm sure that the departments, as well as the city and state, would want to work with community on. The second part of my report was devoted to providing some background on some of the prior studies that have been done involving Mānoa Stream. The 2008 study was actually after the 2004 and 2006 flooding. It provided a lot of scenarios, many of which were not acted upon. And after the big Army Corps of Engineers flood control project that was proposed back in 2018, generated tremendous opposition all through the Alawai watershed. The city council put together a permitted interaction group. And as a result of those discussions with our technical consultant, Oceanet, the Army Corps of Engineers asked Oceanet to try and come up with some other alternatives. So their 2020 engineering documentation report was based upon their reanalysis of some of the problems that, occurred with Mānoa Stream and other portions of this watershed. So that's all my report was intended to do. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions or comments for Senator Fukunaga? Member Fox?
I don't know what happened to the Army Corps of Engineers plan that we were thrown at by the mayor. Is that off the table now?
Okay, the last proposal from the Army Corps of Engineers came in with a price tag that was far higher than, the interim discussion that the council permitted interaction group had had. So at that time, I think everyone sort of said it's off the table for now. I believe the money that had previously been appropriated may still be encumbered, but I think it's important for the community and all of the different agencies to get together on how we can come up with a solution before we move forward with any of the Army Corps.
Just to follow up, my understanding was there was a proposal by Oceanic regarding a different plan than what the $1 billion plan was. And that was around, Ellen told me it was around $600 million or something. Is that what we're talking about? Is there was an Oceanic plan and then there was the Army Corps of Engineers
City
plan?
Council's permitted interaction group, which hired Oceanet as our consultant, at that time had Oceanet responding to the Army Corps of Engineers request to try and move water out of the valley in a different manner. So they came up with a tunnel proposal. That proposal was never intended to be a final actionable item, but it was more to show that you could develop technical solutions that community neighbors would otherwise be supportive of. And so, in this whole thing, I think the goal is to try and work with the community to get the agencies together. And I think we just have to keep at it.
Anyone else in person? Member Bosel?
I did not mean to imply that this wasn't a helpful summary. I just wanted to say, I do think, Senator, that it was very, interesting to see all of these things laid out here. But I would still say that a lot of these different things have different aims. The studies were looking at mitigating flood risk much further down in the watershed, some of these studies. And so what I would be really curious about is this plan, which I understand why the city and state felt, enormous community pressure to act immediately, but I would be curious, what goal are they trying to achieve with this current action?
I think what they were trying to do was remove, the excess vegetation and obstructions, but I
guess I would
I think they should speak for themselves. I don't want to put my words in their
And I think that's where, because excess vegetation, without knowing what vegetation they're removing and where, will speed up the stream flow in different areas and, engender or, more hinder certain areas to flow over. And so knowing what their aims are is paramount, really, because as Tom earlier was saying, there was work to allow the park area to overflow at one point. And I believe he was saying after Harris's administration or something, there was long ago, this sort of plan to allow that area to overflow. But now we're hearing about increasing the angle of the stream, which would be the opposite exactly. That would mean that the park area, which is one of the safest areas to allow or overflow, is now being, trying to divert flow from that space to increase the speed. All I'm saying is, this is what the community really would like the information before any of the dredging happens, because once the dredging happens, you can't re-stabilize those banks.
I think the best thing to do going forward is, if you're going to have a special meeting, invite the Department of Transportation, Department of Facility Maintenance, and the other contractors that they have and ask your questions of them. And I think it's a good idea to do it as soon as you can.
Would it be possible to get them to halt their work until we can have that meeting? Or
I'm sorry, I can't speak for the state
Sure,
and
sure,
the
sure.
county, but certainly will convey the message of how tonight's meeting has transpired. And the mayor's representative has already committed to working with the university group. So I'm sure that, we can find a common ground
Okay.
somewhere.
I guess I'd like to make a motion. I don't know whether any of the board is interested in this, in asking the city and county to halt all of this work until we can get that information at the time of this meeting. And so I would ask, whether the board would be interested in asking the city and county to halt all of this work. And I also ask whether our representatives can help give our request some heft in also putting their voices in, because I do think that that's potentially, I don't know what raised hands, whether that's what the community is, but from everybody I've heard from, that seems what people want.
Moved and seconded. Is there any
Excuse me.
discussion?
Second the motion.
I have,
Member Sophia?
I have a quick question. Senator Fukunaga is.
No, hold on.
My unders-
Vanessa, you're raising a point of order. Come up and say it. Come up and say it.
Point
Come
of
up and say it
order.
for the microphone.
I have a point of order.
Yes.
Thank you, Chair Nagaji. This is Member Armstrong. My question is that I'm concerned this may be a sunshine law violation due to the significance of the nature of the motion and it not being on the agenda. Correct. We would need clarification from the city, which is you, Anson, right now, as to whether or not
Hold on.
this is applicable.
Impose. We have a raised hand. Tom?
Thank you, Chair. Tom Heinrich speaking in my individual capacity. The parliamentary question that's just been raised is a very important one. The bottom line is I'm not quite sure what the subject matter is right now in relation to Mānoa Stream. This discussion has wandered all over the place. But as I stand here at the moment, you are taking a report from an elected official. Therefore, it would seem to me, based on Robert's rules, that any motion unrelated to the, and I don't see a basis for any motion relating to the elected official's report, is simply ill-timed and not in order. So the resolution to this, in my opinion, is simply that if you wish to make a statement, make a statement. But to put it in the form of a motion throws that discussion basically completely off the table and would be violative of the Sunshine Law in that, most importantly, the public has not been informed by virtue of the agenda that this is the nature of the discussion that was anticipated to take place this evening. So if you wish to make a request and have that conveyed through your elected official, that's appropriate. But I believe that based on Robert's rules and the neighborhood plan, it is wholly inappropriate to make such a suggestion in the form of a motion to be considered by the board. Thank you, Chair.
I'll speak to that for a moment.
Yes.
I do understand Robert's Rules of Order quite well. And I think he's right in saying right now, our senator is speaking, God bless. And after that's done, we already had a discussion on the Mānoa Stream and what's going on. What we have the ability to do is go back to the subject matter and make the motion. It'll take the chair to reopen the previous matter so that we could make a motion and carry it through. This is a matter of great importance and time is of the essence. So I suggest the chair open the discussion back after Ms. Fukunaga is
And
done.
Chair,
I'm going to lean on.
before we make the.
Hold on. I'm going to lean on Mr. Heinrich again. May we do that? May we go back to our earlier agenda item regarding the flooding issue in order to make this motion appropriate?
If you wish to, that's your choice. Don't advise me. That is the choice.
I have a point of order.
Member Armstrong, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I hate to be the stickler for the rules here, but our agenda item is under community updates. It is not under board business or action. In fact, our only board business items are not for action. They're for discussion other than the meeting minutes. And so this is a very important discussion. I just don't want us to get bitten in the effort to do the right thing. We are trying to do the right thing here.
All right, so we have 11 minutes left in the meeting. We're so deep in the procedural soup that I am half lost myself.
I have two questions.
No,
One
no,
is,
hold on.
please,
Okay, Member Sophia, go ahead, and then Member Fox.
is the DOT or the city in the lead here? And therefore, if we do this motion, are we asking the city or should we ask the DOT? I believe so.
I'm hearing people from the gallery saying DOT.
Okay.
So
And is there any exception for emergencies to this sunshine law issue that Member Armstrong's bringing up?
Tom, Mr. Heinrich, I'm sorry, I need to call you up again because frankly, I'm way out of my depth with the technicalities that are being thrown around, and I need you to come in and bail me out here.
We gonna? It's not even legal.
And sorry, there's a person in the gallery who keeps speaking, and it's not on record because it's not microphone. So if anyone wants to speak, they should come to the microphone. But Tom, please go ahead.
Okay, I'm unclear as to what particular question you're asking at this point. Advice as to? No. The question behind me raised is, can an item be added to the agenda? Yes, an item can be added to the agenda for this evening. It takes, if I remember my math correctly, this is a 17-member board. It takes a minimum of 12 votes in the affirmative to add something to the agenda. That places you in some other risk, and you would have to re-discuss this issue at the next properly noticed meeting, because you have given no notice to the public at large concerning that. However, I think Mr. Armstrong has raised a very good point, and that is, unless you're adding something now specifically to the agenda as business, then in fact the whole basis of this discussion was something under community updates, which otherwise was not anticipated to enable or result in action to be taken by the board. As a comparison, you have something coming up having to do with a draft resolution in which it's specifically noted it's for discussion only, not for action. So this is kind of a swampy situation as to what the board may choose to do this evening.
May I ask a follow-up
ahead.
question, Chair? Considering that members of the community were told that people from the city and state would be here to discuss this issue, and considering that our request, as you know, per this motion, is simply for more time for the community to be informed, do you think we are actually opening ourselves up to much, risk or sanction from proceeding with this motion?
I will only respond to that question in the sense that you need to take a look at the written agenda as properly posted. That's your notice to the public. I have no idea who may have said what to whom or whatever. The only basis for this is what the written notice for the meeting is. But secondly, I think the substance of what you're stating is already communicated to tonight's city representative, Gavin Thornton.
Okay.
So.
Member Fox.
Thanks.
I appreciate your knowledge, and I study parliamentary rule also. But the issue on the table here has been brought to us by the community. We are a government of the people, by the people, for the people. This community board is like the ground level of what our democracy is all about. Since time is of the essence here, and animal life is at stake and at risk of being destroyed without intervention, it takes it to a totally different level here. My recommendation for this board is make a vote. We'll see if we have 12 people on this board who would like to make a vote simply to tell the city, stop for 2 days. Let's do the rescue that we can do if possible, with the expertise of our community. And then they can open discussion because they were not going to get back to us in like 2 days. Trust me, city doesn't work that fast.
I think my motion, the motion that we already passed that other one. The motion now is for the city to stop until we can have this meeting where we actually get some of the details of what the plan is and the goal is.
Precise. So I'm going to move, if I can, to add agenda item tonight in emergency vote to request the city to stop work on the stream for 48 hours.
I second that.
Okay. So we have 5 minutes left. We're not gonna have time for discussion. We will talk about this. To be very clear, I'm planning to abstain. And the reason why I'm planning to abstain is because I suspect if we vote on this, we're gonna be committing a sunshine law violation. But in any case, people can vote their conscience. Do the roll call, Anson.
What's the motion again? Sorry, this is getting really confusing.
Member Boso, can you please restate the motion for Anson?
I'm that the board is asking for the city to halt this stream dredging work until we can hold this meeting that the date has not yet been determined, but hopefully in 1 week or so, to get the details on the goals and extent of this work.
Okay. When I call your name, please say yes or abstain.
Chair, may I raise a point of parliamentary privilege?
Please do, Dylan.
I believe that the appropriate response for those of us who believe the board would be committing a sunshine law violation would actually to be an abstention. Normally, an abstention is kind of used as a weaselly way out, but I believe that it is entirely appropriate in this situation and not a vote no. I will be abstaining for that reason only.
Yeah, I want to make it very clear. I agree with the substance, but I suspect that those who vote yes are potentially opening themselves up to accusations of a sunshine law violation. So I'll be abstaining, as Dylan said.
So
Anson, do the roll.
Okay. Kamemoto? Yes, no, abstain?
Abstain.
Abstain. Watson?
Yes.
Okay, Bozo?
yes.
Nagaji?
Abstain.
Okamoto? Fields?
Abstain.
Okay, Lee?
Yes.
Off? Joanne? Oh, Joan? She's not here. Okay. Chong?
Abstain.
Moylan?
Abstain.
Sophia?
Yes.
Guano?
Abstain.
Fox? Masharkey?
Abstain.
Carter?
Yes.
And Armstrong?
Abstain.
Okay, that's 7 votes. That does not pass.
All right. And look, I'm sorry, everyone. We had a lot of items in the agenda. We're at 2 minutes before we need to close out. So, you know, this meeting obviously did not go how I wanted to. We had a lot of stuff happen that I was not expecting, but hopefully we'll be able to get this resolved at the special meeting if that goes through. And whatever remaining business that's not related to the flooding issue or the dredging issue will get taken up next regular meeting in September. So I'm just going to read the closing announcements. Next regular board meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, September 2nd, 2026 at 6:30 p.m. in person, Elementary School Cafeteria, and online via WebEx. Again, that's not counting the special meeting that we might be having. And you can watch Mānoa Neighborhood Board meetings on Little Channel 49, televised on the fourth Saturday at 3 p.m. You can also watch it on YouTube. The links are on the meeting announcements. And again, we'll see if we can get a special meeting. All right, thanks everyone. Meeting is adjourned.